Greetings, everybody. Chris Campbell here in the clock shop late this evening. A lot of people have been asking me, and I get a lot of emails, a lot of messages wanting to know how I learned the art of clock work repair, or as they call it in the technical term, a horologist. Well, the thing is, I'm a third generation clock maker and watchmaker. My father was also a clock and watch maker, and so was his dad. He started the business of Campbell's Antique Clock and Watch Repair many years ago. My grandfather, Bill Campbell, started doing clock and watch repair back in the 1940s, I think it was. Earlier than that, actually. My father actually picked up the hobby in 1960, and he worked on clocks and watches all the way up until he died in 2004. 2004, I took over the business of clock and watch repair, and we kept the name Campbell's Antique Clock and Watch Repair. There's a lot of knowledge that you can get from books, and I have an extensive library of books on clocks and horology, watches, and so forth. That's how I do a lot of my clock and watch repair. If it's something that I'm not used to or familiar with, I will go to my library of books and pick out the book, and usually 90% of the time I will find that particular movement and know exactly how to put it back together, how to time it, how to organize the gears to get them just right. This is my library of books. So, just to share a few of the books that I have, one of the books that I use is called My Clock Won't Run. It's by D. Ron Lloyd. This is one of the books that we use. It's still in print. This one sells for $49.95 if you're interested in learning how to repair clocks. The second book that I use is on cuckoo clocks. It's also by D. Ron Lloyd. It's a little bit thicker book, but this one is dedicated just for cuckoo clocks. And I do get in a lot of cuckoo clocks. This tells you every make, model, cuckoo clock that's ever been built from the Black Forest Company in Germany. How to service, how to polish the pivots, how to take them apart, and most importantly, how to put them back together so that they work. This book sells for $59.99 at most retailers. Okay. Now this one is a little bit different. This one is the anniversary clock. This particular book is one that if you do not know anything about anniversary clocks and you're just beginning in clock making, clock repair, you definitely need to get a hold of, because you do not want to work on an anniversary clock if you've never had the experience or training. Anniversary clocks are a totally different style of clocks from the mechanical clocks. They're more fragile, they're more intense, and they're also more deceptible, or they're more prone to problems if you're an amateur. So you need this book first and foremost. And this book sells for about $70 in most local bookstores. But it gives you everything that you need to know on how to correctly adjust the pendulum, how to adjust the beat, the suspension spring, how to polish the pivots, and work on anniversary clocks, because they're the most delicate and most fragile clocks that you will probably come across, other than the Atmos clocks. And I've got a book on that also. And speaking of Atmos clocks, this is the book on Atmos. I get in quite a few Atmos clocks each year. This is by far the most difficult, most challenging clock that you will ever work on as a clockmaker. It's not only a timepiece, but it's an atmospheric timepiece. That means that it's not powered by a conventional mainspring, winding it up like you would a normal clock. It has actually got gas in it, liquid gas, which is turned to air or gas. And that's what powers this particular clock. It is an Atmos clock. This is by far one of the most difficult, the most hardest ones to work on. It does have a spring in it. but it does have a lot more delicate parts, a jeweled movement, and it has a lot of very tiny parts that can break, snap, and cut easy. This particular book I paid $89.95 for. And when I do an Atmos clock repair, especially a service, the base fee is $150 because it is the most difficult one to take apart, put back together, and you have to have special tools to work on this particular clock. You cannot use conventional clock making tools. There's a whole line of specialized tools that you need just to be able to work on the movement, hold the movement, service the movement, and also work on the gases and the liquid that's inside the bellows of this particular clock. That is one of the most difficult clocks to work on, is the Atmos. So this is that book. Now I do a lot of watch repair, and for my watch repair guides I go to this book. This is the mechanical watch guide. It tells you about different styles of movements, from Fusées to Walterberries to the Hamiltons, you name it. It has it in here for pocket watches. This one is dedicated just to pocket watches, and we get in a lot of share of pocket watches. Right now we have 15 pocket watches in to be serviced. This is a great guidebook to get into pocket watch repair. This particular book was $39.99, and you can pick them up on eBay cheaper, I'm sure, Amazon or so forth. Now, if you're not familiar with clocks and you need to know what the clock is, this is the next book that I would recommend. It's The Clock and Watches. It tells you the history of each clock watch that has been produced since 1900 to 1982. I use this quite a bit when I'm looking at the value and appraisal of different clocks and watches for the customer. This book has helped me many times to identify different clock movements and watch movements. This particular book was $32.99, and I use this one quite a bit. Another watch book is the mechanical and quartz movement watch, because not only do I work on mechanical watches, but I also get in quartz movements. And you have to know how to service and take apart a quartz movement and service it. Not only change the battery, but sometimes you may have to change a few of the mechanisms or the chips in the quartz movement, or the jammet as they call it. This book has helped me many times. This one was $35.99 at my local bookstore. I use this one a lot of times. And also, if you're working on anniversary clocks, this one is the must-have, the 400-day clock repair guide. This is the must for any anniversary clock repair shop person. It's a hardback book, but it does not only tell you how to service a anniversary clock. It actually has templates in the back, blueprints of all the plates of every anniversary clock made. That way you can match up your plate to the right plate and match up the right suspension spring and know how to cut it and time it just right. Now, this book can be very expensive if you're not careful. Some sites sell this book for $200 for this book. You can pick it up on some of the secondhand shops for about $100 for this book. You can pick it up on Amazon. I think it's $75 to $85 for this book. Toomey has it for $225, and eBay has it for like $175. Either way, this is the must-have book for anniversary clock repair, and I have it in my collection. Now we're getting to the spiral books. These books have helped me tremendously on a lot of clocks. This one is the Strike Clock Repair Guide by Stephen G. Connor. I use these books quite a bit, and I have the entire collection. Each one of these books sell for about $30. Some are actually $35. This is the first series. He also has a second series, which is the Clock Repair Basics. It's also a $35 book, binder book. He also has the Clock Repair Skill book. I use this one quite often. It's also a $35 book. And then last but not least, another one of his books is How to Repair 20 American Clock Books. And this one definitely comes in handy because it tells you and shows you step by step how the movement should be rearranged and how to reassemble each movement and how each movement should look as you're reassembling it, and also tells you the history of each clock that you're working on. This is just a sample of the books that I have. I have over 500 clock and watch books, but this is how I use my knowledge, whatever it is, to repair clocks and watches. If I come to a clock or a watch that I'm not quite familiar with, I will go to my library of books, and 99% of the time it's in one of these books. So I hope this helps you. If you want to become a clock repair person or a watch repair person, as they call it, a horologist, hit me up. I will be glad to explain a lot of the stuff that I know, my knowledge, and be able to help you. If you have a question about a clock that you want to work on yourself, hit me up. I will be glad to walk you through the ins and outs of your clock so that you can do the repair yourself and you get the credit, and you will feel better about yourself on how to repair your own clock. Because this is a form of art that's dying, and it's an art that is great art because clocks are going to be around for many, many years, and mechanical clocks will last a lifetime. And what we need to do is keep those clocks beating and going strong. With Campbell's Antique Clock and Watch Repair, I'm Chris Campbell. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form, repairing your clocks, watches, or help you if you want to work on your own, hit me up today. Check out my tutorial videos on YouTube, because I do a lot of those, and I am here to help in any way I can. Until next time, may God bless.